Hebrew date, the 12th of Sivan, Yud Bet Sivan. It's going to mark the Hilul of a famous rabbi. His name was Rabbi Shlomo Sukri Z'tl, one of the famous rabbis of his time period. I believe he was born, actually not too sure on the exact date when he was born, but he passed away in the year 1886. We're talking about nearly 140 years ago. Here, from the time of his recording, he was born in Syria, respectively. He would later on get married to Sarah, Rabbanit Sarah. She happened to be the daughter of the famous rabbi, Harav Yaakov and Tebi, rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. They would go on to have a son and a daughter. I think their names was Yaakov and Rivka, respectively. Now, he would garner various different prominent positions in his territory, respectively, in Damascus, respectively. He would be, I believe, the head of the Jewish court in Damascus, along with another famous rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, Harab Yitzchak Abulafia. He would also be doing huge amounts of kiruv work, outreach work, Jewish outreach work to throngs of the public. It's reported over he would do tireless work, tireless prayers, especially on Friday nights. He would stay up the whole night, gather people from the vicinity to teach them Torah from various Torah book, respectively. His, I think, sermons were a foundation for the book with regards to his drashot, which he gave, respectively. I think the book was called Ateret Shlomo, and it will be printed, I believe, after he passed away. I think his son would actually print it. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was around the time period of around 1902. So remember, we were saying he passed away in 1886. About 16 years after he passed away, was his son, Rabbi Yaakov Sochri, would have the book printed, respectively. Now, it's widely reported that he would make Aliyah to the land of Israel, to Eretz Israel, and would live in one of 4 holy cities, the city being named as Tiberias, or Tiberia, as we say. Now, I think it was in the year 1875, sadly, his wife passed away. That would have been about 11 years before he passed away. And that was obviously very sad news. I think she was buried in Tzfat, which is another one of the 4 holy cities of Israel. Now, he passed away on Yud Bet Sivan in the English year 1886. He was buried in Tiberias, respectively. Now, much more can be said within regards to the great rabbi. At a young age, it was apparent his brilliance and his humility and his diligence when it came to learning Torah. And it's actually interesting. His father-in-law's name was Rabbi Yaakov and Tevi, as we stated before. He was the author of the Torah colossal work called the Abir Yaakov, very famous work. And this would very much, he would end up becoming a head of Jewish court with brilliant connections over there. The brilliance of him getting up for Tikkun Chatzot every single night, and in of itself really inspiring the people on Shabbat within regards to it. I think the name of the synagogue where he would gather the throngs of the public, let's just say, unto the synagogue was the El Menashe, if I'm not mistaken, and he would talk over words of Torah inspiration, Musar, ethical teachings, especially after Chatzot Halayla. And they would go to the Beit Midrash he would actually educate in of Rabbi Chaim Vital. Rabbi Chaim Vital was one of the same main students of the Arizal, Ari HaKadosh. This was back in Tzfat. We're talking about late 1500s, respectively. So there was let's just say, Beit Midrash synagogue with regards to the greatness of Rabbi Chaim Vital. I would learn Torah, I think, until the morning. He was an expert in regards to Torah, Kabbalah, respectively. And that would obviously lead his role to become a head of Jewish court over there, which was a very prominent position. And many of the great rabbis of the land of Israel at that point in time would sit with him in the court. And it was all over various different, let's just say, the important cities, the holy cities of Israel throughout his life. So he was a very great rabbi. I recommend everyone to look at his colossal sefer called Ateret Shlomo. As we said before, it was printed in the year 1902. I think it contains 57 pages, and I believe it was also printed in Jerusalem. That was a publishing place, nothing like having the books made inside Jerusalem, published inside Jerusalem, respectively. So that book itself was published 123 years ago from the time of recording, but he was one of the famous rabbis without a doubt during his time period. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about the great Oriental, Spanish, North African rabbis of yesteryear. Over here was a special edition as we spoke about Rav Shlomo Sukri was a great rabbi. If anyone knows the date when he was actually born, I'd appreciate it, because I'm not able to trace it specifically, but seemingly he passed away around the year 1886. If you descend from any of the great Chachamim we are speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information. If you like these videos a lot, please share these videos to other people. And please subscribe to the channel also. We're nearing 7,000 subscribers, which is an absolute phenomenal achievement over here. Let's try and get to the month of Tammuz, which is only about 3 weeks away, and reach that 7,000, let's say, ballpark figure, which would be absolute phenomenal. And we've already covered in this series a staggering 1,000 biography, short profiles. We try to cover a lot of the main information of the great Chachamim, but it's been about 1,000, as many as 1,000 videos, which is also another phenomenal achievement. We've been recording now for 3 years, plus shortly, give or take, just a month or so. But love to hear about the great rabbis of yesterday, and very much speaking about someone very much connected to Syria today, Rabbi Shlomo Sukri Z'tl, passed away Yud Bet Sivan. Don't forget to light candles also in his memory, and have an important day.